Look at the stats. 5 out of the top 6 televised rated games on the WNBA this year all involve Caitlin Clark. The only one that doesn't was a second half of a doubleheader in which Caitlin Clark played the first game.
Only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with the injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back, too. I guess this... Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, look, don't come back. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
If you're in the room, what are you doing with the Judge MVP number? Books are now 2-1, standalone favorite. What are you doing with the Judge number?
What do I do with the MVP? I let them bet Judge at what? Even money? Come on in. I mean, you have to acknowledge now that he's the guy.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Ferrall has taken over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast.
It's Ferrall on the bench, coast to coast, in the biggest way possible, hanging out the bad seed, broken a bad apple with a bad attitude. We are live in New York City, the Big Apple. Ooh, people dressed in plastic bags to prevent traffic, some kind of fashion shake-up, along with Carver High. Hey, by the way, it's Mafia's birthday today, Carver High. Unbelievable. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Yeah. I think he's 39 today. I could be wrong. He's doing it with Luke. I am your father, running the show today. Good to have you with us on Coast to Coast on a Monday. We'll hook up with Morency in Vancouver. Of course, Davis Maddock on the Lions share today. And we'll hook up with Coach James Young and talk hoops, NBA Finals, plus Adam Kaplan, our NFL insider, later today. And I saw that my guy, Mike Tomlin, got an extension today, 3 more years as the Steelers head coach. So they love Tomlin, the Rooneys, despite fans that don't like him in Pittsburgh, despite the no playoff wins in forever, and fans, media alike, a lot of them want him gone. They continue to stand by Mike Tomlin. Remember, they've had, 4 coaches in their history. So they are sticking with this guy through thick and thin, Mike.
They certainly are, and I was going to say to you, happy Monday, of course. Good to see you back here on a Monday. And, yeah, I guess all those people who have cried and complained that they want Mike Tomlin gone, I guess, as you would like to say, they're going to have to go have a sandwich. It's too bad because he's not going anywhere anytime.
Go have a Permanis.
Go have a Permani Brothers because he is not going anywhere. We have a lot to do today on Coast to Coast. Tons of stuff from the weekend. Tons of stuff that's going on today. In fact, something we've discussed a lot on Friday before we headed out for the weekend. It was Dan Hurley, and if he would leave UConn and go to the Lakers. Well, Scotty, just about an hour or so ago, we got that answer. Hurley is going to stay at UConn. He turned down what is believed to be a 6-year, $70 million offer that would have made him one of the 6 highest paid coaches in the NBA. He says no thank you. He will go back to Stores and try to win a 3rd straight national championship.
Well, I think you and Morency had it right, and Coach and I had it wrong. First of all, I thought, if you really wanted him, this is just my opinion of it. If you really wanted him, you needed to make him the highest paid coach in the NBA. If you really wanted him, you would have given him more money and more years. And then the other thing for me, this is real simple. They let him get out of Los Angeles on Friday night. He was there for the day, like he had lunch and then left and flew back to Connecticut. Like, are you kidding me? Who does that? Like, I don't even do that. I don't fly to LAX and then go over to the Lakers offices off the 405 and the 10, whatever it is, the 5, and go to the crypt where they have their offices and spend the entire day with Pelinka and Jeannie Buss and then leave and go home. And they let him leave without doing a deal with him. I heard all this rhetoric today that I can tolerate from this Wojnarowski guy that, it was really close. Like when he left that meeting, he was going to be the Laker coach. When he left that Laker office, it was all in the bag and he was going to be the Lakers coach. And it was just a gigantic offer. I didn't think the offer was that gigantic. There's 6 guys making more money than that offer. So they're paying Doc Rivers more money and he never wins. So I don't think their offer was good, frankly. 6 years and $70 million. Everybody talks about how gigantic an offer it was. It would have made him the 6th highest paid coach in the league. What's the point? And then you got to be ordered around by LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I still stand by it's the greatest franchise in the NBA, and living in Southern California is just extremely enticing. And now I just want to say real quick, I don't care if they hire Satan as their coach. I don't want to hear about J.J. Redick and Jay Wright and James Borrego. I mean, it's just like having the flu. You're going to vomit all day. I don't want to hear about these hack-ass, frankly, choices they're making now because they're not the choice they wanted. So I would never – I'm not interested in a job where I'm second, third fiddle. The first guy turned him down, the second guy turned him down, and then you're the third choice. That's like picking the fat, ugly girl at the sock hop to dance with you when you could have had the hot chick over by the spiked vodka punch. What are you? I just don't understand any of it. Like, I don't care who they hire now. Whoever they hire will not be as good as Dan Hurley would have been. They had their chance, and they let it slip through their fingers. I would have never let him leave L.A. without a deal. So I can tell you, I've been in a lot of deals in my career. And I'll tell you one thing. When Mel Karmazin took me to the Ritz-Carlton in San Francisco to offer me Ferrall on a Bench national syndication on WFAN New York, you think I was turning him down at that lunch? There wasn't going to be any, not doing the deal. In fact, he never ate a bite of food. He just said, deal? I go, deal. I go, you having that salad? He goes, go ahead. I go, you're the man. He got up and walked out. He never had a bite. He got what he wanted. When you're doing a deal, you get what you want. Same thing I did with people that run this network. I did a deal with this guy fast. And simply said, you want to run? I said, okay, let's do it. Let's go for boom, done. And then we were here. When you have the chance and it's on the table right there in front of you to do this gigantic deal and they let you fly home with your wife, so all your friends and your mommy and daddy and your brother and your neighbors and all the kids at the school can cry and don't leave us, God. And he fell for it. He stayed. And I don't think for 1 minute he's winning 3 straight titles. So I don't care what happens to him either anymore. I mean, I'm a fan of his work, but I think this whole thing was an abortion, to be honest with you. I really do. I'm not even kidding.
And of course, the word on the street is that he's going to get some major rework deal with Connecticut, of course, as well.
Who cares? I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care.
It is what it is.
I don't care what he's paid
at this point.
Is he going to make more money than $12 million a year?
I doubt it. I think he would have got more money with the
I don't care what he earns. I don't care. Thanks.
We have other things to do as well. The Celtics are up 2-0 after beating the Mavericks last night, despite a 30-point triple-double from Luka Doncic. Really didn't get any help from anybody else. So that's why it's 2-0 as they go back to Dallas now, Scotty, on Wednesday night. God, I hope they can turn it around, or else this might be over quickly, this NBA Finals.
Well, I mean, this is simple to me. One guy is performing and no one else is doing jack.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Luke has a triple-double. Nobody else does anything. And, you know, when I heard Jason Kidd say, we got to get someone else besides Luka and Kai scoring, what kind of world is he living in where Kai Irving has done anything? He got worse in game 2 than he was in game 1.
0.
He's done nothing. And he's never beaten the Celtics, ever. Not once, ever. And he never plays well there. So if they go back for game 5 and game 7 there, it's automatic the Celtics are winning. It's a done deal now.
And they're getting help from everyone. Holiday, Pritchard, everybody's having huge nights for the Celtics.
I told you Porzingis would fall off, though. Did I not?
He did. He re-aggravated the injury.
Oh, yeah. Now his leg hurts again. That didn't take... I said that would happen in Dallas. He didn't even make it to Dallas.
We got baseball, Game 2 Stanley Cup tonight. We got golf today. There's a lot to do on Monday.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid, your 24/7 sports wagering network. Fantasy sports today.
Be a guy that's really useful in your fantasy rotation? I think the answer is yes.
Game Time Decisions.
And guess what? I'm going to lose the bet because he's injured again.
Betting above the rim.
He's got a broke J. That's all there is to it. He's got no confidence in that jump shot.
My thing you've always heard me say on the network is you're either winning or you're rebuilding.
In-game live all access.
Wondering when that was going to happen, and the answer is it just did.
Sometimes you think the bigger guy will have the advantage. Well, if the little guy can move, Joe, it's hard to hit the little guy sometimes when you're a big boy, right?
In-game live, prime time.
20-1, I'm going to take a little flyer on Justin Rose.
In-game live, overtime.
As you sit here and listen, watch right now, you may want to consider placing that bet.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
It's the BetMGM offer of the week. Get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. For all the games in the NBA Finals. Set your picks and shoot your shot. And turn any game into a must-watch. Download the BetMGM app, and it's on.
the offer that you were talking about for Hurley, allegedly, I think Goody has it at 6 years and $50 million to stay at UConn. Is that about right?
It looks like that is about right there. Yes, 6 for 50 is in that area. 6-year deal worth approximately $50 million on the table. I guess there's probably still a little bit of negotiating that's going to be done there. But that is, of course, let's do the math quickly, a $20 million difference from the Laker offer.
We bring in Morency now from Vancouver, who had it right all along that he would never leave UConn. And I got to tell you, Morency, I just said to Carver High, I don't know if you caught the beginning of the show, like, I think Jeannie Buss and Pelinka blew it when they had him there on Friday and let him leave. I said that I've done deals before with powerful people in my career, and they got the deal done when they were sitting in front of me. There was no letting me go home to think about it or, I'll get back to you. There was none of that. It was like, take it or leave it right now. And, this is different than that. But, I've sat in big deals before, and when someone offers you that kind of money, and I also said this, I thought their offer was terrible. I know people say that that's a boatload of money. If you're the 6th highest paid coach in the NBA, that's not enough money. If you want Danny Hurley to coach the Los Angeles Lakers, I thought they had to give him 10 years and over $100 million. And you heard me. You can quote me on that. And not 6 years and $70 million. It makes him the 6th highest paid coach in the NBA. What's the point of going to the NBA if, he's barely making more money than he is in college?
Yeah, I was surprised. I'm not surprised
We
that
don't
he
have
didn't leave.
Morency's mic on. I don't have his mic on, so hopefully we can get that going.
Check one. You got it?
I got you now. Go ahead, Gabe. Sorry.
All right. So listen, I'm not surprised. I said I didn't think he was going to go, Scotty. But like you, dude, if I was Hurley and I sat down and they said, okay, and they slid a piece of paper over to me, I'd be thinking, you made me nearly miss my Billy Joel concert to come here for this? Because he went to see Billy Joel on Saturday, right? He flew back. I right away, Scott. Let's just be real. Yeah, it's a lot of money to Joe Sixpack, but can you imagine Hurley, just his mind, what he sort of saw, 70 mil 6, and he was like, he's thinking, you guys made me come here for an $11 million a year offer? You want me to uproot my life and leave a team that I've won back-to-back championships with? I just recruited all these kids? Dude, I told you, like you said, 100 mil. I was thinking, Scott, they need to blow him away. And that was the only reason I thought maybe he'll do it, just because money is money. And, he can go, listen, I can't turn down $17 million a year. That's that's my type of deal. I just can't turn down. It's just too much money, $138 million or something. Bro, really? $70 million for 6 years? That was supposed to impress him? And I'm telling you, Scott, this is the Lakers' problem. Sort of what you sold. We're the Lakers. It's beautiful, this and all that. It doesn't impress everybody. They sort of think, well, we're the Lakers. It's going to be so honored we even offered anybody the job. They'll take it. Yes, the Darwin Hams of the world will. The Frank Vogels of the world will. But the elite top of the tier guys, there's just so much to it, Scott. It's not just money. And I told you before, this is why I didn't think he would do it. Who are you dealing with? You're dealing with Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, LeBron James, Rich Paul, and then Jeannie Buss has all of her advisors. Bro, it's like a corporation there, right? I could see Hurley, and I tweeted this out, Scott. Hurley might be a coach in the NBA one day, but he'll be coaching the Knicks, right? At Madison Square Garden. He's an East Coast guy, maybe the Nets if they ever offered him a ton of money, and they had a few really good young players. I just didn't see him as a West Coast guy, as a Lakers guy. And there's just so much baggage there with the Lakers right now, right? I mean, LeBron James, he's at the end of his career. He's got every year. He's sort of, well, what am I going to do? How many more years do I have? Does he want you to force? Are they going to have to draft his son to make him happy? Is he going to leave? How much power does Rich Paul have there once LeBron is gone, or does he? There's a lot of people. If you work for the Knicks, Scott, there's one dude, bro. You're dealing with Dolan, all right? And a lot of outsiders don't like him and stuff, but if you're working for him, there's one guy. It's like, what does Mr. Dolan think? That's it, point blank. And Dolan already told me I can sign who I want. So I don't have to deal. I don't have to advise with LeBron and his people, and how's this going to upset LeBron? And, what about AD's future here? There's just so much to unpack there, Scott. I didn't think it was a great job for him. And like I said, like if Lanny Hurley became the coach today, does that make them the favorites to win the title? I don't think so. They don't have the players for it.
Well, my thing is, like I said to Carver High, like at this point, like, I don't care who they hire now. If you're the next guy in line that they offer that job to, you have to know that they didn't want you.
Well, this is another thing too, where the Lakers didn't do a very good job of. You can't let people find out what you're up to,
right?
And you can't let your fan base. The Blue Jays did this with Ohtani, right? There was all kinds of media reports from everywhere. Ohtani to the Jays is a real thing. It's not just it's like, no, this is real. Like, he's considering it. If you're the Jays, Scott, you've been around long enough. You know what you do? You put it out there. That's crazy talk. I don't know where the hell that's coming from. We haven't even spoken to him. You don't get the fan base. The fan base is all upset after. Oh, they didn't get Ohtani and they didn't sign anybody after. You put those fires out. And now, like you said, the Lakers just got stiffed publicly by a college coach. Let's just call it out for what it is, right? And I guess it's back to J.J. Redick right now, a guy that's never been a head coach before.
What
See what I'm
could
saying?
be
The type of
worse?
guy that's going to take the job.
What could be worse than that hire? Honestly, they should hire
J.J.
Doris
Redick?
Burke. Doris Burke. I mean, honestly, Malika Andrews. She should get the job. Morency should get the job. Dead Lemmy should get the job. No one cares anymore at all, including me. I'm at the top of the list. Who they hire. I just don't care anymore.
Look at the stats. 5 out of the top 6 televised rated games on the WNBA this year all involve Caitlin Clark. The only one that doesn't was a second half of a doubleheader in which Caitlin Clark played the first game.
Only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, "Look, don't come back." I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
If you're in the room, what are you doing with the Judge MVP number? Books are now 2-1, standalone favorite. What are you doing with the Judge number?
What do I do with the MVP? I let them bet Judge at what? Even money? Come on in. I mean, you have to acknowledge now that he's the guy.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Honestly, Morency, when I was on in LA and I had to drive from Huntington Beach to Culver City every day, it's a 40-minute drive door to door with no traffic at midnight. But any other time during the day, it is 3 hours. It's 3 hours. It's bumper to bumper. I had a convertible sports car with a stick, and I ended up with a limp because I was in bumper to bumper with the clutch. I'd walk around limping
You know
to my
what, though,
left.
Scott?
But how
It's
do
worse.
you have to have a ton of dope to sit in traffic like that and deal with it? But I don't understand. Like, I heard people today saying Jay Wright, he was at UNLV, but he's not a West Coast guy. Danny Hurley's not a West Coast guy. And that's like you telling me you're not a New York guy, but you love New York. You loved
it's the
New
same
York.
buzz. I love New York and LA, and I can,
Right.
you know what I mean? They're both
So
awesome cities.
What's the problem?
But the deal is, I'll just say, look, a guy, look, dude, Hurley's father, I mean, he's a legend of Jersey. They're Jersey guys, bro. They're East Coasters. You
He's
know what I'm
not
saying?
going to live
They're like-
forever. Okay, he's old.
I know. But I'm also going to say, Trey Turner, great baseball player, right? He was on Los Angeles. He was on the Nationals. He went to the Dodgers.
Here we
Dude,
go.
he was good on
He's
the
a
Dodgers.
quitter.
They won a World Series. Like, it wasn't like, hey, life sucks. They won a World Series. So he wins a World Series, and he told them, listen, I can't re-sign with you. And they were like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what are you unhappy about? Like, what's your problem? You don't like playing with Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman? Like, what, in LA? What's the deal? He basically said, man, my wife, she doesn't like it here. And he basically started saying, you know, I got to leave my house at like noon to get here on time for traffic. And I don't get home until like 1 a.m. after because of traffic. And I can't live my life like this. I got to go back to you. And I'm thinking, you'd rather live in Philadelphia. Really?
Wow.
You're going to go to Philadelphia as opposed to play for the Dodgers. He left willingly. Some people don't like it out there, bro.
I lived there too for a year and did Eagles pregame, and I couldn't get out of there fast enough. Let's just say, I'm a Pittsburgh guy, but I got to tell you, it didn't do anything for me. You know what Philadelphia is? It's a nicer Baltimore. Okay, it's the same thing. Row houses and crime everywhere.
But look, he's happy. He's happier on the East Coast.
Whatever, like East Coast. God.
Hey, I'm just telling you. Listen,
here and humidity. I don't even know what it is. Tonight, the Oilers are down 1. They got shut out 3-0. They're in the Everglades at Sawgrass, in Sunrise, South FLA. Panthers look fantastic. Bobrovsky made every save. I'll say this, though, Gabe. I thought the Oilers had 50 chances to score. They just couldn't find a net. I mean, this guy was incredible. He was standing on his head.
That's all you could do. It's a lot like basketball. If you're getting open looks, you just got to keep on taking them. If you're the Oilers, you ran into a hot goalie, just keep on shooting. It's important to get the first goal if you're Edmonton. And, you know, sometimes first goals can be overrated, Scott, but the Edmonton Oilers, they're a little fragile mentally, a little bit, right? Like when things are going their way, they're really hard to deal with, but they do get frustrated, this team. So it's very important that the Oilers score first in games, and it's just sort of, it eases up their bench a lot. Listen, the Panthers are going to be a tough team to deal with. I'm not going to say it's a must-win game for Edmonton tonight, but they'd be a hell of a lot better off if they won this game tonight.
Well, how do you compare it to like what Dallas just did, losing both games in Boston, what they're up against? Is that what the Oilers would be up against going home, or they're too good?
Yeah, I think, both these teams would be in a lot of trouble down to, I think Dallas right now. I mean, I don't think Dallas can win this series, Scott. They can win a couple of games, I would imagine.
They can't win in Boston.
I mean, so what happens now? They go back home. They better win the next game. And even if they split, they're going back home. They're going to go back to Boston if they split at Dallas, where they could lose the next game. Let's give credit to Boston. Let's give credit to Boston, though. Boston looked like a team that's been here before. Boston looked like a team that's been knocking on the door for the last 8 years and are finally about to break through. They're like, no, not this time. Yeah, like, Drew Holiday, just the little additions of the guys that they had. Like Brown and Tatum couldn't do it alone, but with the guys that they brought in. And to me, Scott, it's almost a case study, too, of in this day and age where everybody wants to trade everybody all the time, break up teams all the time. Right? No. Fight through it and you'll win. Denver struggled for years with Murray and Jokic. They broke through. Right. And it looks like Brown and Tatum are about to break through now. But I still think we're going 6.
Michael Jordan finally broke through, and look what he ended up doing. The
Pistons,
it
took him 6 years.
Yeah, all those teams struggled to find the light, and they finally got it done, and then the rest is history. We'll see what happens. Dallas favored by 1.5. We'll see what happens tonight with the Panthers and Oilers. Thanks, Gabe. Great stuff. Catch SportsGrid tonight at 10.
Look at the stats. 5 out of the top 6 televised rated games on the WNBA this year all involve Caitlin Clark. The only one that doesn't was a second half of a doubleheader in which Caitlin Clark played the first game.
Only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with the injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole's getting ready to come back too. I guess this. Look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, "Look, don't come back." I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
If you're in the room, what are you doing with the Judge MVP number? Books are now 2-1, standalone favorite. What are you doing with the Judge number?
What do I do with the MVP? I let them bet Judge at what? Even money? Come on in. I mean, you have to acknowledge now that he's the guy.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Honestly, Carver High, can I just say this? I'm reading now this guy, Wojnarowski's dropping stories about how, listen to this, as swept away as Hurley became by the Lakers' courtship and vision for him. Are you kidding me? That is such bullshit. If he was so swept away by their courtship in Los Angeles on Friday, he would have taken the job. He wasn't swept away. That should be the real story. And I'll tell you what the other story should be is that the Lakers' offer was bunk. It was average. They said it was a gigantic offer. That's last Friday. That's what they were selling. This is an enormous long-term offer. All it was 1 year more than every NBA coach gets, which is 5 years. They offered him 6 years and $70 million, which would have made him the 6th highest or 5th highest, either or, doesn't matter. When you're the 6th or 5th highest, that means you're not the highest. That means you're not the highest paid or the 2nd highest paid. And let me tell you something. In coaching, in college football and college basketball, whoever is the best makes the most money. In the NBA, it's different. The best guys are getting, if he's the best, why isn't he getting the most money? They are paying guys like Doc Rivers, as I mentioned before, way more money, and he never wins. He never wins championships. It's amazing to me. I thought their offer, I'll say it again, was average. 6 years and $70 million to me. I mean, that's like a player salary. To me, that's like some player they're trying to sign for 5 or 6 years, and then quarterbacks make $50 million a year. Per year. They offered him, in my opinion, they offered him a college basketball contract. That's what they offered him. They think they're so slick. Jeannie and Jay Moore and Rob Pelinka, and she's married to that Moore comedian, and then Kurt Rambis with his thick-ass glasses. I think they're all a bunch of goofballs. They didn't get it done. If you are going to nail someone in a deal, you nail them right then and there on the spot. You invite him out to Lipstick City, you take him to the yacht club, and you get him to do the deal that day. There's no leaving. And I think their offer was terrible. And I don't believe for one effing minute that he was swept off his feet When you're swept off your feet, you marry some chick. I fell in love at first sight. She swept me off my feet. Oh, I got married. People swept off their feet from offers. They signed the deal. They don't walk away and turn them down. The offer sucked. I don't care what anybody says. He'll never say it either, that the offer was bad. Oh, it was a great offer. I was really impressed with the Lakers. Well, no, you weren't. You didn't do the deal.
Well, they're not doing that because, and look, Woj is probably being asked by whoever the source was at the Lakers that originally gave him this to really make this look good. Don't make it look like, he turned his back on us and that our offer wasn't good. Really sell it that this was close to happening. This is like when we do, he does these stories, and it's not just him.
He does this all the time.
There's other people that do it, but he's done it before. Remember the whole, LeBron to Golden State to play with Curry was this close. It was right on the line like 3 weeks later. Yeah, but it didn't happen.
Right.
It's after the fact.
Neither did this.
And this 6 for $50 that we were talking about before, that's the contract that's been on the table since they won. I can guarantee you when they announce the new deal for Hurley at UConn, it will be closer to what the Lakers offer. Like you said, a college contract. I bet it'll be more in the 65 to 70 range that he gets from UConn because they're still going to – he probably called him up on Friday and was like, they're offering me 6 for 70. What are you guys going to do? Dan, we'll get real close to that. Don't worry. Come on home. And that's that. That's pretty much –
You're right.
You'll see when they announce that deal.
And he'll be the highest paid coach in college basketball.
No question. He will blow away all these other guys, Self, etc. He'll become the highest paid guy.
Listen to this. Time out. I got 5 left. Monty just told me he would have been paid less money than Gabe Vincent, who scored 3 points and had 2 dimes per game for the Lakers in 20 minutes of playing last year. He would have made less money than Gabe Vincent.
I can't go by that with the NBA because you could be like the 15th guy on the bench in the NBA. Like makes more than starting players in like Major League Baseball in the NHL. Like,
yeah, but I don't want to hear about their gigantic offer. This gigantic, enormous. Like, remember Friday and Saturday. That's all they talked about for 24 hours a day on every television network in the country was that they were going to offer him the most gigantic long-term deal in the history of the NBA. That's all I heard. And then this is the offer. 6 years and 70. I got to tell you, I think their offer was weak. I thought it was lame. I thought it was a 1 year over norm. 1 year over norm. So everyone else gets 5 years. They're going to give James Borrego or whoever it is, whoever they don't want, that's going to be their new head coach. Remember, this will be their 8th head coach. I mean, in less, 8 and 11 years? It's embarrassing. Yeah. They can't get anything right. I told you this the other day, or I may have said it on Betting Above the Rim. I'm going to say it again. I think she has failed her father horribly as running the team. You can quote me on this. Her father would have closed this deal at not only the yacht club, he would have gone straight to I think Coach said the Forum Club or the strip club. This would have been done that night. He would have never gotten back on a plane. His wife would have met him in L.A. with the kids. Yeah. They would have never let him leave. The daughter, let me just be clear. The daughter, she can't get anything done right. What has she done right other than LeBron James? And LeBron James runs the team. He runs the franchise. He runs the whole thing. So she doesn't even run that. She got him, and then he took over the entire franchise. And you know who else has more power than her? Is Anthony Davis. So Dr. Buss would have handled this, and it would have been done in less than an hour. In an hour, he would have had Danny Hurley signing a contract. It would have been over. He would have been drunk. He would have been probably covered in women. They would have been at the Playboy Mansion with bunnies all over him. That's what would have happened. It would have been all over but the shouting. And instead, they took him out for tea and a burrito, and they couldn't close the deal with him.
And I know I was looking a little bit at that story.
He's rolling in his grave. Dr. Buss is rolling in his grave. It's like Al Davis and his son Mark. His son Mark's a doofus. And you know what? Same thing. George Steinbrenner rolling in his grave, watching his son Hal hack this up. The drunk was way more entertaining and exciting as the owner, co-owning with his brother, Hank, way better than that wussy Hal. So all of these, the offspring of all these owners, the father, the son, the daughter, they're all hacks compared to their dads. And I'm not wrong. Name one of them that's been more successful than their father. None of them. I've always said, remember how many times have you heard me say, I said it to Kurt Gowdy when he fired me at SNY. I go, you're a quarter of the man your father was. And that was the last words I ever said to him. And he didn't like that either. His whole face turned purple. He wanted to choke me, and I didn't care. And I said the same thing to Jim Boeheim. You're half the guy Bob Knight is. Nice seeing you. Good luck. Have a good show. I don't care what anybody thinks of me. I tell it right to their face. You got to have stones.
It's like Succession, right? Kendall Roy. I mean, that's
you got it right. I mean, that's it right there. That's right there. Roy, you talk about a wussy. That kid,
that's what it is.
He was
that's what it comes
in
down
his
to.
Pants.
I've said that
about
Hal forever, right? I've been saying it about Hal forever over there with the Yankees. Just hasn't been able to follow in the footsteps of the old man. All right, we'll come back
at all,
and we will get into last night at all. Last night, the Celtics taking a 2-0 lead on the Mavericks. We have a very busy Monday here on Coast to Coast, of course. Kendall Roy, that's it. And the funny part is, they've done all this smoke about J.J. Redick. That story says they haven't even interviewed him yet.
But let me say this. Kendall Roy, what has happened to Kendall Roy since that show ended? Boy, his career's off and running. Does he get any...
Look at the stats. 5 out of the top 6 televised rated games on the WNBA this year all involve Caitlin Clark. The only one that doesn't was a second half of a doubleheader in which Caitlin Clark played the first game.
Only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me, because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back too. I guess look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, look, don't come back. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
If you're in the room, what are you doing with the Judge MVP number? Books are now 2-1, standalone favorite. What are you doing with the Judge number?
What do I do with the MVP? I let them bet Judge at what? Even money? Come on in. I mean, you have to acknowledge now that he's the guy.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Well, Mike, we're starting to see some signs of number 5 or, a number 6. Only one has ever done it. The Rockets seeing a 5 against a 1. What's happening here is I don't care what anybody says. I never once thought for 1 minute in either game that the Mavericks were winning. I never once had a feeling ever that they were going to win the game. I mean, the first game, they got blown out. And then last night, what were they down 3 at the half, 54-51? And did you ever once think they were going to win that game? I never once thought they were winning.
No. No. I never thought they were going to win the game last night in Beantown. Like you said, it was because you knew it was just Luka. He was the only one really doing anything. When you look down the line, Irving, 16 points, had an awful night. Jones had 11. He was 0 for 3 from 3. Washington was 1 for 5 from 3. Remember earlier in the playoffs when Washington was hitting, like 4 or 5 threes a game? Yeah. PJ Washington was just draining buckets for them? They've lost that. They've lost Irving scoring. How did they beat Minnesota in the last round? What happened in the games they won? Kyrie and Luka both scored over 25 points apiece in all those wins. They're just not getting that right now. 105-98 was the final last night. I'll tell you what the Celtics got, Scotty. They got a little something from everybody, including Derek White and Drew Holiday on ABC.
Gafford hauls in another rebound, his 9th. Holiday deflects it. Doncic has to throw it. White with the steal. Holiday to Horford. Holiday a 3. Bang! Drew Holiday from downtown. Lead back up to 11.
I mean, every guy produces ball movement, steals, defense. They won the most games in the NBA by far, and they're proving that they're the best team in the NBA, and they're humiliating the Mavericks. I don't care what anybody says. It went down to 6.5, closed at 7. Some people had it at 7 as a push. Either way, nobody made any money on the Dallas Mavericks in Boston in either game. So that was that. And, they're just better. They're flat out better. And you know what else? You got to be obvious when you say it is that one team plays defense and one doesn't. The Mavericks don't play defense. They don't play any defense. All they do is try to get rebounds and rip and run and give Luka the ball and watch Kyrie miss shots. And no one else can hit a shot. No one else does anything. Meanwhile, everyone on Boston plays defense. And how about Pritchard hits a half-court buzzer beater at the end of the third on the Banks Open ATM 24 hours a day. So they're just doing everything. They're playing both ends of the floor, getting all the steals, all the block shots. They don't get any fouls called against them at all in Boston. They get every call. I mean, this thing's over.
It is over. I agree with you. And you know that I wanted Dallas to win. I was hoping Dallas would win. I was on that train with, the Celtics haven't done that. Yeah, forget it. They're the best team. They're the best team. They have too many options. I mean, let's be fair here, Scotty. What is Tatum in terms of scoring? Tatum's done nothing in this series. He hasn't had to. He hasn't had to. Now, he did a hell of a job last night distributing. He had 12 assists. He had, but he had 18 points. I mean, he's their best player, and he's been a non-factor in the 2 games, and they still won both of them really with ease, without having any problems whatsoever. Let's hear from Holiday first. Of course, he had a huge night for the Celtics, 26 points, 11 of 14 from the floor. He had 11 boards as well, and did what he does. He played unbelievable defense all night long, which is why the Celtics got him. Here's Drew Holiday.
I'm a utility guy. I do whatever. I'm here to win. I feel like they brought me here to win. And I'll do my best to do that. But at the end of the day, this is their team. And I know it's probably just as much as my team as theirs. But, again, I feel like I've talked about this before. The pressure that they have on themselves to execute and to be great is a little bit different than my pressure. And, again, I've always been honest about that. And how they always handle themselves has been something that's been so honorable. So, it's slightly different. They're superstars, and I'm here to support.
You know what he is? He's wide open, is what he is. Like, did you see how many wide open layups he had? Like, no one guards him. And then he plays the best defense on the Celtics. So, like, right now, after that performance, now look, if you look at Tatum, he had a double-double, and then he almost had a triple-double last night. He missed about, like, 1 rebound or something like that. You're going to have a hard time saying that Holiday's not the MVP because he's shut down Kyrie Irving and he's done, incredible things offensively like what he did last night.
No doubt about that. And think about this. Like, he's the glue that Milwaukee lost, Scotty. Let's be honest. Like, we wonder about what happened to the Bucks. I know they wanted the big prize, getting Dame time. He's the glue they lost, and he's one of those guys. We didn't talk about him at all during the regular season for the Celtics because the numbers weren't eye-bobbing. He was just kind of doing his thing. When has he played his best? In the playoffs. He's just one of those guys. What did he do for Milwaukee that year they won? He was like their best player. I mean, I know it's Giannis, but he was outstanding in that playoff run. This guy's a playoff primetime performer, and he's exactly what Tatum and Brown needed, like he just said right there, to maybe get them across the line, which they're 2 more wins away
They
from doing.
sell that Porzingis is the guy, and it's actually Holiday. Porzingis isn't the guy. I said again, he won't last, and he's not gonna, and he's always injured, and I'll stand by what I said. There's no denying I like that he can shoot, and it's nice being 7'2", and shooting down at the basket as opposed to having someone in your face. He shoots right over people. It's so easy. When he jumps, he's 10 feet in the air. So he's like Durant. He's so long that you can't block him. It's impossible. But he's always injured. I give him 4 years, he's out of the league. He won't even be in the league in 4 years. He's just always injured. He played 1 game, had 20, played second game, had 12, and now he's already hurt again.
Yeah, he's hurt again, that's for sure, although he says he's playing on Wednesday no matter what, is what Porzingis said last night after the game. I'll come back and I'll give you some of the Dallas side. Of course, they're down 0-2. They're heading home, and then I'll give you the numbers for Game 3 Wednesday night as the series shifts down to Big D.
Look at the stats. 5 out of the top 6 televised rated games on the WNBA this year all involve Caitlin Clark. The only one that doesn't was a second half of a doubleheader in which Caitlin Clark played the first game.
Only on SportsGrid.
8 playoff games at home for Boston in Beantown. They are 6-2 straight up.
The wild card, I would say, in this game is not necessarily, well, what are we going to get out of Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Brown, and certainly Tatum. It is Kristaps Porzingis to me because we're not getting back a player that's like, hey, rotational guy. Like, remember when Derek Lively went down with an injury? He was playing well, but a young player, like a piece.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Garrett Cole is getting ready to come back too. I guess look, they've played great without him, but you're not going to say to Garrett Cole, look, don't come back. I mean, it's a ridiculous conversation to have.
They're not going to take any unnecessary chances. And look, they're at the point where they have a lead. They certainly are going to make the playoffs, I would say, barring some sort of complete collapse. And that's all it takes.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
If you're in the room, what are you doing with the Judge MVP number? Books are now 2-1, standalone favorite. What are you doing with the Judge number?
What do I do with the MVP? I let them bet Judge at what? Even money? Come on in. I mean, you have to acknowledge now that he's the guy.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Once a day, play our free-to-play BetMGM Swing for the Fences for a chance to win great daily prizes. Play as batter, pick an area of the strike zone. Get a single, double, triple, home run, or fly out. Play it once a day. It's free, I told you. BetMGM Sportsbook account holders who play the BetMGM Swing for the Fences are going to have an opportunity to win a reward if they get a hit. The reward types include parlay boost tokens, odds boost tokens, single game parlay boost tokens, spins in eligible casino states, Yeah, bonus spins, you heard me, and bonus bets even. All rewards expire in 24 hours. Check it out at BetMGM.com and download the BetMGM mobile app on iOS or Android. Don't forget, we'll be at the MGM Grand on Thursday and Friday with SportsGrid, Sirius Channel 159, Sports Byline USA, and all their affiliates, broadcasting from the big event, PBC Premier Boxing on Prime pay-per-view Saturday night. Tank Davis fighting, and so is David Benavidez. Both of them on the card. Should be a great fight night on Saturday at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. We're looking forward to that later this week.
Sounds like it's going to be hot out there for you this week, Scotty. Sounds like it's going to be a little crispy for when you get out there.
As you know, I'm a West Coast guy, so I think I'll be able to, with all the bikinis and everything that are going to be out at the pool, at some level, if I have enough rum, I think I'll be okay. I'll let you know, though. I'll text you and let you know I'm fine. To make sure, because, with my heart condition and everything, it might be a little dry and steamy for me out there. I'm not like Danny Hurley, where I just want to live in the snow and ice. I'm okay with the West Coast. I'm okay with that dry heat.
That's what you need. Got to have that dry heat. The Celtics are 6-0 now in the playoffs when Jason Tatum shoots below 40%. He only had 18 points last night, but of course he did a lot of other things for them. We'll pass on him. We'll get him ready for Wednesday. Let's hear from some of these Dallas guys, Scotty, because they're in the hole. First, here's Luka Doncic. Of course, a 30-point triple-double, a very rare feat in the NBA Finals. But as you always like to say, who cares? You lost. That's it. Who cares? You lost. Here's Luka blaming himself.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it didn't work because we lost. But, at the end of the day, we got to make some more shots. I think my turnovers and my missed free throws cost us a game. So I got to do way better in those two categories. But at the end of the day, we got to make shots to win the game.
Yeah, no one else did anything but Luka Doncic. Listening to him talk about how horrible he was is laughable.
It is kind of laughable to listen to him, that's for sure. Here is Kyrie Irving, who didn't do anything in the game last night. He says the Mavs need to turn it around at home. They sure do.
Home court advantage is something that gets talked about a lot, especially from a media standpoint. As a player, is that something that you guys can lean into as the series shifts back to Dallas?
Yeah, I mean, you want to take advantage of playing in front of your home crowd, feeling confident, and being able to play in a familiar place. And like I said, they handled what they were supposed to do first two games, and now it's our job to go home and handle our business. But you got to give them credit. They kept competing. We kept competing. We just got to stay together in some of the tough times throughout the game where it could be a 4-point lead on them or a 4-point lead that we have. We just got to keep competing, and I think we'll be in a better place, but feel good.
Listen, no, you're not good. You were horrible in Boston. You've never done well in Boston. His numbers in Boston are absolutely bone dry 0. He's over. He's donuts. What is he, 0 for 12? 0 for 18? I saw some crazy number today. I almost fell over. Here's the deal. I thought that play at the end of the game with P.J. Washington was a foul. And if he, shoots 2 free throws and makes them both, it's a 3-point game. I thought both players fouled him. Not only did they foul him, they shoved him from behind too. And he flew into the cameras. If that's on the other end, Boston gets the call automatic. I thought it was a horrible call, and that's all there is to it. But Dallas never deserved to win either game. And his worst nightmare is the Boston Celtics. Not only was he a failure in Boston playing for them, it was a failure. It was a disaster. And then as a player against them, he's never won a game there. I mean, what do you need to know? He's jinxed. He can't win there. It's over. They will never win there with him playing. It doesn't matter. He's not having some big game there. Did you hear him say, I want to play in a familiar place? Because where he's playing there is a haunted house.
That's precisely what it is. We'll come back and we'll start the hour with, the numbers for game number 3, Wednesday night, Mavericks and Celtics.